You're in for a real treat this episode. We got a lot of stuff to get to. Welcome to episode 9 of the Pokemon White Shiny Badge Quest Nuzlocke. We start off the episode right too. Juniper plugs us with the Master Ball. I'm going to try hard not to use this on shinies unless I absolutely need to, but it'll always be a nice safety net. Moving up to Route 10, the gate staff tells us about the storm that Thundurus is making on Route 7. Personally, I feel like this Pokemon is a bit too busted to have on a Nuzlocke, but then again, you'll see why I'm a hypocrite after I get this next member. Just wait. Moving over the bridge, we have a final decisive fight against Cheren. After seeing us get the Darkstone, seeing us beat Team Plasma, and seeing us get all the shinies, you'd think he'd be just a little jealous. Let's see if he has the mons to back it up though. Despite having our level cap increased, I probably should have grinded a bit more. Regardless, he leads off with a level 43 Unfazan as we start off with Deathless. A big Acrobatics chips it, and after a questionable taunt, we take it out with Crunch. Coming in next is Simisage, and despite our closeness in level, Deathless outdamages Simisage more than the Meteor outdid the dinosaurs. Get clout. Up next is Leopard, and I think you know the drill at this point. Acrobatics mops up the mess. Then Emboar comes out. Having some pretty threatening stab moves, I consider my options but opt to use Fly. I honestly couldn't tell you why I use this instead of Acrobatics, but we take the dub regardless. GG's Cheren. Overtaken by our powerful Riz, Cheren storms off. Stay mad. Now it's time to move into Victory Road. We opened all the doors last episode for fun, but eventually we opened that final door since we acquired the last badge. I stick my head in the dragon's mouth for fun too. I think it's pretty cool that you can do that. We start off by finding the first required trainer. She leads off with Whimsicott, so I answer with a ripe acro from the bird himself. However, the bird meets his match as the zebra comes out next. Bird no like zebra. He U-turn into Squishy Blob as zebra get fast. Then Squishy Blob eat spark and use mind powers to psych zebra. Consequently, caveman make big fire. Big win, good game. Big win, good game. I'm saving my brain cells for the Elite Four. Anyways, the next trainer is optional, but we fight him for experience and clout. He leads with Stoutland, so we respond with Juiced. After tanking Retaliate, we land a crit Brick Break, easy peasy. Up next is Scolipede, so I try my hand with the Stone Man. He gets flinched turn 1, but after getting Poison Guts boost from Toxic, we land the Rock Slide for the kill. Excellent job, Scolipede. The third trainer is also optional, but once again, I need some experience. After doing some quick calcs, I'm able to determine that once again, Deathless is pretty overpowered. Who would have known that giving 252 attack EVs and 19 attack IVs to a silly little 140 base attack bird with a 110 base power stab move would be so smart? The fourth trainer is a doc though, so we gotta show him some respect. Studio Girl gets heal blocked, which is an interesting move for a doctor to have, and then one-shots it with X-Scissor. Up next, we eat an X-Scissor on the flip before sending one back. That was surgical. The fifth optional trainer has some pretty neat Pokemon. Leading with Behemoth, we start with Deathless, and after calculating for a bit, I confirm the one-shot. Next up, Lilligant stands virtually no chance against the prehistoric menace. Finally, the Heatmore in the back meets a similar fate. The bird shows no remorse. Okay, this one was kind of funny though. Dude literally invaded the zoo, grabbed a couple of monkeys, gave him some stones, pulled up to Victory Road, and then expected to beat a guy with his silly sparkly little bird he got from a rock. Imagine being her. Yikes. I'm gonna stop showing these optional Victory Road battles now because Deathless beat literally everybody else. Except this last guy. I don't remember what he had, but I didn't want to mess with him. So, I don't care. And there you have it folks, we made it to the Pokemon League. The feeling of getting this far in a playthrough feels amazing, let alone a Nuzlocke. But we're not ready to challenge the Elite Four yet. We got a lot of prep to do. I backtracked to grab this Dragon Claw TM from Victory Road first. It's a little mazy, but I managed to get all the other free items too. After a string of grinding, I was ready to hunt for my 9th member. Mind you, I was recording this in September of 2022. I was expecting this hunt easily to go into 2023. I was thinking I wouldn't have as good phase luck compared to Pawniard and Duosion. I was prepared for a lengthy Roggenrola type grind. But no. May I present to you the 9th member of our team, Dino. Puff the Dino came on a first phase using a Repel Trick, and with a less than 30% chance of appearing, I was amazed when I found it on the very first phase. Definitely check out the reaction video in the description if you're interested. Anyways, with the serious neutral nature, Puff's IVs are 22 in HP, 12 in attack, 19 in defense, 4 in special attack, 15 in special defense, and 28 in speed. Okay. The 4 in special attack really hurts my feelings, but overall this absolute speedy monster is gonna wreak havoc. Eventually. Zweilous doesn't really evolve into Hydreigon until level 64, so unless I wanted to run Eviolite Zweilous for the round 1 Elite Four and N and Ghetsis, I think I'm just gonna have to bench him until round 2. Until next time, Puff. With our 9th member secured and the boss fight ready to go, you know what's next. The grind to the level cap of 50 has begun. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, with level 33 to 36 Audinos, the grind took a lot longer than I thought. The time it took me to plan my Elite Four run was easier than the edging grind. Maybe I should just use rare candies. Once my experience grind was finished, I headed to the next hurdle, the gem grind. For my Elite Four strat, I needed a very specific set of items, and under my rule set, gems are legal. Eventually, after a long while of running into Excadrill and getting lots of other gems, I finally secured my Ghost Gem.
There it is. Oh my god.
And just like that, it's time. We are ready to fight the Heavenly Kings. Before we go inside though, let's check out the entire team, because some moves have changed. We're going to be using Pastedox with Nightshade, Shadow Ball, Flame Burst, and Imprison. Juiced with Brick Break, Rock Slide, Bulk Up, and Facade. Akumono with Surf, Acrobatics, Work Up, and Rain Dance. Steal Yo Girl with Bug Buzz, Iron Defense, X Scissor, and Iron Head. Sneck with Leaf Blade, Coil, Leech Seed, and Giga Drain. And Deathless with Protect, U-Turn, Crunch, and Acrobatics. With the squad squared up, I equip some necessary items and head right into the most difficult gauntlet yet. But we readied a fearsome team. I think we have a shot at defeating them. I guess we're just gonna have to see what kind of fights the league has to offer. Strap in. We got a date with the Elite Four. Caitlyn is our first match, and she leads with her Uniclus. This thing has some pretty crazy coverage, and with crits, it can demolish our team. Unfortunately for the less shiny Jello, Pastedox just got the cord, and he's making sure that thing's booming. Spell Tag is a perfect item for our Modest Ghost, and with the stats it has, no setup is required. Musharna comes out next, but to its surprise and demise, it gets one-shot by our Orange Candle. This is Chandelure's real time to shine, and it's got a pretty stunning debut. Following is Sigilyph, and it too, despite a higher speed stat, is taken down for the count. At this point, you know the vibe. The method, if you will. The sauce, if you must. The heat, if you persist. This is Pastedox's Razor, and Caitlyn is gonna be one cranky neighbor. Night Night got the toe. Okay, so Caitlyn was easy enough. After swapping around the experience shares, Akumono scored level 51 from that fight. That's because we're gonna need that monkey to beat some ghosts. Let's see if the competition is any fiercer for this novelist. Shauntal leads off with Cofagrigus, a ghost type that can status and get rid of my Pokemon's abilities left and right. Unfortunately for Shauntal, Pastedox knows the genre, and it's non-fiction. Golurk emerges, and believe it or not, we got an even cleaner one-shot this time around. We take it with ease and get almost up to level 52 in the process. Following up, Jellicent wants the smoke. I sent the Shadow Ball and it one-shots, but Jellicent's Curse Body procs and I am without the ball for a bit. Chandelure comes out, and with great hesitation, we take the Aux Cord back and head into Steal Yo Girl. Our Steely Girl boss tanks the payback, but as a highly vulnerable Steel and Bug type, I pivot into the Monkey. Akumono actually dodges the Fire Blast too, saving itself some massive damage. But damage is something it knows all too well. Shauntal gets a piece of the Water Gem boosted Surf, and her chapter ends abruptly. Good games all around. After ghosting the second member, we only have 2 more members to go. However, these battles aren't as free as their predecessors. A sweep is a sweep, but a step-by-step strategy is arguably more rewarding. Let's gamble. Grimsley's lead Pokemon is Scrafty. This Scrafty does have some solid defenses, but we got a bird, and that bird is ready to rumble. A non-flying gem boosted acrobatics is enough to make Scrafty pull the pants back up and head home. The next victim is Bishop, which threatens some high damaging moves that Deathless just can't handle. I decide to pivot into Juice, which can take the incoming Metal Claw with ease. Boasting more defense than Deathless, we then take a super effective aerial ace to the face, but not without a massive brick break blow to the chest piece. Had to give him that en passant, bro, I literally wrote out en passant in my notes. En passant. Okay, anyways, the cat comes out. I wonder if he stole Cheren's cat, to be honest. Why is an Elite Four member using a support Pokemon in singles? We tank a Night Slash and set up Rain with Akumono. Cats don't like rain, and they definitely don't like surfing. And in the back, despite being inspired from a literal crocodile, we also gotta hit him with the water. Poor Croco. That went pretty well. For the next battle though, we got even more bulk and raw attacking power from our opponent's Pokemon. We ready the squad and just go for it. The final battle of the Elite Four. Marshall's up next, and his Pokemon have some crazy good coverage. He leads a throw, and like clockwork, the bird makes a reappearance. Rinse and repeat, acrobatics with no item is the way to go. Throw's counterpart, Sawk, comes out next, but this time we can't one-shot it because of Sturdy. There is a countermeasure for this though. Archeops respectfully U-turns the Sawk out of Sturdy as we dip. On the switch, Sawk can do a number of moves. I opt to switch into Snack, and we take a Stone Edge. Dodging a crit, I try to out-heal the Sawk with Giga Drains. Thankfully, after a missed Stone Edge and some good Gigas, we Leaf Blade crit to take the kill. Mienshao is the next mon up. It offers good coverage too, but its main strength is its high jump kick. If you're seeing where this is going, you would be correct. Instead of taking damage on Snack, I go straight into Pastadox, who forces a miss kick and 50% of Mienshao's HP is lost. Then, with Stab to back it up, a Flame Burst does the trick. One more to go. The last Pokemon of the Elite Four is one of the scariest, also with phenomenal coverage and fantastic bulk. There's just one thing that Marshall didn't account for. Chandelure on the mic, and he's dropping a hit single. And that's the Elite Four. I'm glad I was able to beat it without stat boosting moves. It made me challenge myself and calc more. With that big challenge out of the way though, it's time to finish the main story. The climax of the narrative is upon us. N, having already beat the Elite Four before we did, managed to beat Alder too. As the new Pokemon champion, he flexes on Alder and I and raises his Plasma Castle to assert dominance. Whether or not he's compensating, it looks really cool and I wish it affected the routes in the game afterwards. It's a real bummer we lost Route 10 in Black and White too though, that music slaps. With N triumphantly walking up his stairs, Cheren rolls up and starts helping out Alder. He tells us to full send it into the castle with no backup except the rock. Roger that, 10-4. As soon as we pull up to the castle, we get jumped by the 7 sages. Personally, if you've read the manga, this one a bit harder, but we ended up not having to battle at all. Maybe it's because they don't want to face the final bosses instead. As we progress up the castle, the Triad guides us to the final chamber. Eventually, at the final chamber, Ghetsis confronts us and hypes us up, almost like he wants N beaten up, crazy stuff. Regardless, we're not ready for this fight, so we dip. I know I usually have 1 level cap per episode, but believe me when I'm saying I'm gonna need all the help I can get for these boss fights. I spent countless hours calcing and delayed the finale a few days while finishing schoolwork on the side, but finally I had hatched a plan. Let's get ready. While most of our team is ready to go, there's just one member in specific that benefits from this new level cap. Homeslice valiantly fought his way through dozens of Audino, and eventually it was time for him to evolve. Probably one of the cleanest shinies in Gen 5, this en passant pawn just got promoted. Right up on the level cap too. After a few more hours of grinding and some theory crafting in the meantime, I came up with a pretty solid plan. A plasma member teleported me back up to the castle and we head up to enter the final chamber. We find N on the opposite side of the room and he's ready for a final battle. He calls upon Reshiram and it starts to get heated. But wait, we got a special surprise in our bag. This part of the story always gets me excited for the final battle. This really set the stage for the climax of a Pokemon story, and rightfully so. We awaken Zekrom from the Darkstone and summon the majestic Black Dragon. Personally, I think Zekrom's design is a bit cooler than Reshiram's, but they're both really amazing. Next, we're given the opportunity to catch Zekrom. Without wanting to fill up any of my boxes to hunt it later, I decided to just quick ball it and go. I led Superior, and hoping to not take too much damage from a failed capture, I send the first ball. Well, that was easy enough. I saved myself a Master Ball, but all is not well. You see, directly after the battle, I was assuming that I'd be getting a chance to change my party Pokemon. After denying Zekrom's entry to my party, we go head to head with the Plasma King. This is it. This is the climax of the main story. N is one of the scariest fights in the game, specifically for his legendary Pokemon Reshiram. It doesn't have the greatest coverage, but its damage output is insane, and I was planning on having Deathless out first. Without a proper strategy to beat Reshiram with Snek, I have to switch Deathless straight up into a Fusion Flare. The crit would have killed the run. A high roll also would have killed the run. In retaliation though, I send the one answer I could muster up while calcing against Reshiram. The only shot was a Rock Gem boosted Rock Slide. While being 90% accurate, it allows us to have some amazing tempo and have a U-turn at the ready. As Vanillix comes out, I can't afford to stay in. I U-turn for the chip, and Pastadox is equipped with an Aspire Berry, fearing the worst. Well, N happens to land the Blizzard, and we have to shake off the freeze. In return though, Chandelure is able to send a Flame Burst to knock it out. 2 down. Caracost is out next, and while you already know the plan, the plays I have to make are still a little sus. The first Aqua Jet is a good sign, and after Giga Draining down to Sturdy, I'm able to tank a non-crit Stone Edge. A couple more grass moves does the trick, and we're in a great spot. 3 down. Next up, a supposed Klinklang comes out. This sus is real. I set up a light screen, but I take a flamethrower from the opponent, getting burned in the process. Being burned is obviously not the ideal situation for Snek, effectively forcing me to use Gigas for damage from now on. Anyways, we gotta get out of here. Expecting another flamethrower, I switch into Deathless. Risking Deathless on a 1-in-8 crit was a terrible play, but it at least gives us some extra pivoting options. We U-turn and take a big chunk out of the opposing Zoroark and switch into Jello. Now, why I switched into Jello of all things is beyond me, but since I was so low, I guess I was expecting it to use a random move at me, so it's unfortunate it used Night Slash again. I think this is all because I used Light Screen on Snek. After losing some more dumb HP on Jello, the true culprit for the matchup is here. Aquamono outsped the quick Red Fox and jumped over the Brown Dog. I mean, Scald is enough to take it out. In terms of positioning sake though, I wish I thought that through better. Klinklang is next, and we got another tricky matchup to deal with. I send out Jello and we tank the expected Thunderbolt. Without a paralysis, we then make another bold move. Jello baits some specific moves from the grinder, and Pastadox is not only able to tank those moves, but can retaliate with a massive flame burst too. Thankfully, the one shot comes through and we are officially 5 mons deep. One more to go. While our bird was the MVP of this battle, N tries to salvage what he has left and uses his own bird. Unfortunately for him, we still got our ace in the hole. On the switch, Homeslice eats a crunch for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and we send a Night Slash right back to deal some big damage. Taking a Stone Edge in return, I absolutely mind game myself and end up switching. While Defeatist was active, I wanted to save my Citrus Berry on Homeslice, since I would have been outsped by the bird. Archeops actually misses a Stone Edge on Akumono on the switch, and with a sigh of relief, we outspeed and take the final kill. N is defeated. Without feeling too salty, he admits his defeat, and we're technically champions of the Unova region now. We don't get too much time to celebrate, however. Ghetsis is eager to pounce on the opportunity. As Alder and Cheren finally back us up, Ghetsis unleashes his rage, and we're faced with the final fight of the playthrough. Let's give it our all. Cofagrigus is the lead. Again, having Sneck out is not what I had in mind to start these two fights, but at least for Cofagrigus it doesn't change the fight too bad. Not wanting to be toxic, I switch in the Metal Man himself. Homeslice essentially walls the coffin and we take little damage in return. My instinct was to set up and easily sweep the entire fight, but I wanted to challenge myself. With greed getting the better of me, I stick to the game plan. I start out with a Thunderwave because I eventually want to pivot on Cofagrigus after I faint it. After chipping it to very low health, I switch into Archeops. A Shadow Ball crit could have been devastating, but we would have lived it. The paralysis is phenomenal, however, and we take the first kill with an Acrobatics. This baits out Bisharp, which has a variety of tools to chop up my team. Unfortunately for Ghetsis, I get a Bisharp of my own, and he's a retired butcher. After eating the crit Stone Edge, a Brick Break ensures our second kill. While you might have thought the battle was going well, it's all about to go downhill. Hydreigon comes out, which is arguably the scariest Pokemon in this entire playthrough after Reshiram. My mons don't even meet it at the level cap, and without setup, I anticipated the challenge going in. Wanting to avoid a Focus Blast, my first move is to switch into Jello. Thankfully, Hydreigon uses Surf on the switch. This is where I make the hardest decision of the playthrough so far. After hours and hours of theory crafting and not finding any answers, I had a decision to make. I needed to chip Hydreigon, and only one member on our team has a tool to get us halfway there. Without having any speedy one-shots, I have my first planned death of the Nuzlocke. I don't want to drag it on too long, but this is where Akumono makes his last stand. Without a Surf on the switch, Akumono faints to a couple of Hydreigon's moves. Though he is an amazing special attacker, we're going to use his raw attacking power with the Fighting Jump boosted Brick Break to give us favorable positioning against this last boss. Akumono, it's been a pleasure. After taking a second to decompress, I realized the fight was not yet over. The damage was dealt, but the battle has not been won. The Prophet Deathless has its chance to tell Hydreigon how it feels. And we stuff it, with the most rage-induced U-turn you've never seen. With a newfound will to win, Sneck is going to be next up. The Seismitoad that emerges has coverage for grass types, but what Ghetsis neglected to add was enough for us to outspeed our grass Sneck. A Leaf Blade demolishes the Muddy Toad. Electros is our next opponent, and thankfully it can never one-shot us. I take this opportunity to set up Leech Seed, and after dodging the crit and burn from Flamethrower, I get a little health back. It's time to pivot again, and Deathless once again is the answer. We eat a Flamethrower on the switch, and to my surprise we once again dodge the crit and burn from the eel. With an obvious electric move being baited, I used Deathless to U-turn once again for favorable positioning, but what I didn't expect was the critical hit. While not changing the battle a ton, this does allow us to save some HP in some places. The last mon is Bouffalant, which can easily crit and cover all of our typings across the board. Unfortunately for Bouffalant, we have some guaranteed pivots that can ensure we take it out 100% of the time as long as Snack holds it down. Chandelure will always bait Earthquake, so Archeops will always U-turn chip and bait Wild Charge. Serperior will always bait Head Charge or Poison Jab, which Shandy loves to see on the Switch. This cyclic switching nature makes for a bittersweet finale, but I can toy with Ghetsis. Ghetsis took our beloved Aquamono down with him, and I'll make him regret the day he went up against Shauna's team of All-Star Shinies. After a few final switches, Pastadox can actually finish it off for us. A Flame Burst to the dome secures our final feint against the Super Boss. And without using stat boosting moves or level cap of 54, we take the dub over the failure of a father. GG's. Backed into a corner, Ghetsis has no choice but to forfeit. Alder and Cheren spit some facts before apprehending the monster and then escorting him out of the joint. That leaves us with the King of Plasma himself. After reminiscing about our first battle in Accumulatown, the music kinda gets me tearing up off camera. The build-up of the story in Gen 5 is unmatched, and the ultimate battle against the evil team's finest makes for an incredible finale for our journey. It was a long and hard road to get this far, but I pulled through, and the fruits of all of my members' efforts are shown here. Despite your only challenging fight being at the finale of the narrative, I'm gonna miss you, Anne. Thank you for the battles. I was kinda crying while rewatching the VOD and writing and editing the script too, but can you blame me? I love this game. Its storytelling and gameplay are unmatched, and a blooming soundtrack wraps it all up beautifully. The credits roll, and I collect myself. Honestly, the credits theme kinda goes hard too. This makes for a fitting time to honor my members. To start them off, Snek is the very first member I got to start both of my Shiny Badge Quest Nuzlocks. I got 4 non-capture card DSs to quad hunt shiny starters, and Snivy was the first one to shine. She's definitely my favorite shiny starter and the speediest grass monster to boot. The arguable MVP of this run, Aquamono is the most meaningful member to me. It was my first hunt on the capture card 3DS, my longest hunt for a while at 25,000 resets, and he clutched so many fights throughout the run. I want to keep my emotions out of this, but damn, I'm gonna miss my Mono. I'll finish it out for you, buddy. The third member came a lot sooner than I ever could have thought, and on only the third phase. Juice did almost everything he was asked to do, most notably sweeping Alessa's gym, and just generally just tanking and spanking. I hope to dap him up someday. Good job destroying those cats. Deathless, while being the false prophet, was instrumental in the gauntlet phases of the run. The damage he dished out probably outcoed at least 25 noteworthy Pokemon, and I wouldn't trade him for the world. A Reshiram Slayer at heart, I'm so glad I got him out to rock. Steelio Girl came pretty quick for her expected phases too, and she definitely came ready to rock. Her crazy typing and amazing attack stat made her super useful throughout a ton of segments in the run. Fuego is a no-go, but she clapped up just about everything else she could. The actual longest hunt ever was pretty worth it in the end, all things considered. Pastadox is just it. He rock, he roll, he heat, he cold, he smooth, he glass, he make you want to pass, Dadox. Thank you for all of the sweeps. Home Slice on the other hand came faster than a Horde Shiny. Home Slice's typing is just crazy high utility, and I'm glad I could use her to dice some mons up. Her stab moves are just that good, and they really dished out the damage after she evolved. Glad to have her, and I can't wait to use her more. I haven't used Jello much yet, but I'm glad he made a spot on our team. He was also a super quick shiny that has a wide variety of tools to offer too. As long as I don't let Jello get crunched, he'll probably be around for a while. Puff didn't quite get his chance to shine, but he'll be sparkling very soon. And you best believe he's gonna mop up the competition. You already know that last spot is gonna get filled. After all, we haven't officially become champion just yet. But for now, I'm glad almost all of my members made it this far, and I can't wait to take the Nuzlocke further. After properly recognizing my contributing members and watching N take off on his Reshiram, I got some final words I wanted to say. I really wanted to challenge myself without setup moves or protect or substitute or anything. So I'm really happy that that went well. Sticking true to the level cap and not using a Master Ball against Zekrom and not using a set of moves is probably the toughest thing I've ever done. I did a lot of planning, I looked at a lot of options, and it came down to Aquamono taking the hit. So, rest in peace, Aquamono. It served us well. The Elite Four went amazing. Thanks a bunch for watching, and I'll see you in episode 10, because we're going to run it back with the actual champion. So yeah, see you next time. Well said, and true statement, this is not the end. I hope to see you back for the 10th episode of the Pokemon White Shiny Badge Quest Nuzlocke. Thank you for watching.